Hi, I'm Billie Stevens.
And I'm Noele Shannon.
And
you're watching
Building Our Brands. And we're back!
Yay!
All right. So, I got my coffee. Oh, yeah. One thing that we realized yesterday, you are joining us for our second episode. But one thing, after we shot our episode yesterday and started editing it up, we realized we had too much content to fit into one episode.
Yeah.
So, you're here, our inaugural week. Yesterday was our very first video blog and podcast. And so we realized we had so much stuff, we're actually going to split yesterday's into 2 episodes. So this is our second day of filming, and but it'll be our 3rd episode. And we will, as we go on, kind of streamline and find out how much
you're willing
content,
to
how much content we need to actually make this so that we know what's going to be the right amount to do good stuff for you. So it's possible in the first few weeks that we might have a part 1, part 2 of or that'll go 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Until we kind of get it all figured out. But that's because we have so much good stuff.
Yes. True.
Thank you everybody for joining us. And let's kind of pick up a little bit where we left off yesterday. Noele, please tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Hey, so my name's Noele Shannon. As stated earlier, I am an event producer. So basically what I do is I basically create memories for people. I work from concept through completion on either creating my own events in immersive environments and locations, or themed events, which are definitely my forte, super fun, very enjoyable, for crowds from 500 to 10, 15,000. I've been doing it for a number of years, although also I do get contracted from time to time with other nonprofits or for-profit organizations as an on-site manager or coordinator for events. So a couple things for those out there who don't know, great skills to have for this line of business are being very detail-oriented, or anal retentive, however you want to slice it. Kind of like, that whole type A personality, but I pay a lot of attention to detail. I'm very organized, and that definitely is one of the skills that's kind of needed for this job. So super fun, love what I do, and I'm definitely very excited about this program and continuing to build the brand, more specifically the themed immersive event that I have going on in April called Wild West Steam Fest, and you guys will be learning more about that as we kind of go on.
Excellent.
And what about you, Billy? What do you do? Tell everybody out there.
Well, to remind everybody who didn't watch yesterday or that's going to watch after this, I am Billie Stevens, and I am a recording artist. And I've been doing it for a while, so I started back in the day when you actually got a big record deal for millions of dollars and went on tour and were on MTV and on the radio and all that good stuff. So I was signed to Warner Brothers Records for a while, did a couple records there. That band broke up. I started a new band, signed RCA Records, videos on MTV. Good times,
Yeah.
And then I kind of stepped away from the industry when things started changing. All of a sudden,
the world changed.
And a lot of it had to do with the internet.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, people that were buying CDs for $10, there was no more Tower Records.
I know, it's so sad. I remember when our Tower Records on Sunset closed.
Yeah.
Ooh, such a bummer.
And, and so people couldn't go to the warehouse. Why? Because they were getting your records for free on the internet. Now, what I did at that point was I started producing records. And
so you kind of still stayed in the same line of business, basically, the entertainment industry.
Yeah, it is creative, and I'm still in the studio. But now it's, I did that for about 10 years, and now it's about time. I put out a record last year called American Yusha. I have a new Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just
New-
telling everybody.
New record coming out in
2019.
2019 in spring, followed by another tour. And so pretty much I'm excited about this program because in my industry, the whole market shifted. What used to be people going and buying your music, coming home listening to it, and then going to see you in concert is now people logging on, watching your video, and then watching your concert, and between people doing live feeds or people doing that's where it is now. Now we still tour so that people can come check it out, and there's, for me, that's a big part of it. But one thing to stay relevant in this business, no matter how good I have my craft down, I need to be able to convey it to people.
Sure, I get it. So I think one of the things we're going to do in this episode is talk a little bit about the various platforms that are out there and what we are currently using, or maybe aren't using, or are interested in checking out. So that's going to be a little bit about what we're discussing.
Yeah, and there's so much. I was sitting down this morning before we started the episode. We were kind of brainstorming about all the stuff we were going to put in it.
Yeah.
And I think just off the top of my head, I came up with 14 or 15 platforms that I'm on and using.
Yeah.
And another
crazy. So
10
much.
that I'm not. And then on the ones I'm using, there's ones that I'm pathetically using.
Yeah. I get you.
And so so we're gonna kind of go over the different ones. And what we're going to be doing is, if you look in the description below or the comments, we're going to have links to our other social media accounts. So if you're on Instagram and you came across this and then you watched the video on YouTube, or you can get to all the different places. Or if you stumbled on the video on YouTube but want to hear the podcast, you can find a link to listen to a longer version, which will be the podcast.
Yeah. Cool.
And so you want to start picking apart what platforms we're using and kind of what's there. And then maybe along the way, if you guys hear something you want to respond to, DM us. Send us a
and
message.
at some point, definitely, we're going to kind of like
Comment.
start diving in, to the comments and answering questions and stuff. But right now, really, it's just kind of, like you said, like trial and error. We're just going to kind of just roll with the punches, see, what works, talked about what has, what hasn't.
Yeah.
So platforms, we're going to start talking about different platforms.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So
let's start with, I've been fortunate enough over the last few years to really kind of immerse myself in different training courses and going to places.
Yeah.
And trying to keep up on stuff. And to this day, with all the social media out there, the one thing that every guru or every person that's promoting online work says, your number one place is still always going to be your website.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now Noelle and I both have websites. BillieStevens.com.
Mine's for my event, WildWestSteamFest.com.
Yep, and I do mine through it is WordPress.
Okay, yeah. I use Wix, which I love. It's super easy for people who aren't skilled like the WordPress people of the world. Wix is more drag and drop. So for me, just having so much on my plate, as you do too, the simpler something is, it's just better for me. And they have a lot of apps that you can integrate in through the website, which is pretty awesome. So a lot of these other platforms we're going to talk about are able to integrate into the website through that platform. Absolutely.
Now, for me, WordPress is a little bit more... you don't have to be a programmer, but being techie helps.
Yeah.
Because if you know HTML code, you're going to be able to do more instead of drag and drop, and everything's run off your plugins.
Yeah, I used to know HTML in the days of MySpace, which MySpace is a little bit different now. It never really quite went away.
Yeah, I had a Hotmail account too.
But oh my goodness.
Oh, are you talking
I'm
HTML?
talking about HTML, not Hotmail.
Yeah.
You know, the coding, because you could design the background of your MySpace pages. You could add music, you could design the look, the color, the images, and all of that. And so it's just pretty freaking interesting to see how, just 10 years ago,
right?
It's so different now. Like all of that stuff are just they're built in.
Now I have a question for you. Do you call it MySpace or is it just MySpace?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay.
What do you guys chime in?
Yeah, I remember
MySpace
was hot pink because that was cool.
Yeah,
Or
I always
maybe
changed mine like once a week,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
I was always trying to keep it fresh.
So HTML for that, and
Yeah.
those skills for me actually went right into WordPress. But with WordPress, we use a lot of plugins.
Yeah.
So you try to find the right plugin that does what you're looking for, and then you download that as almost like a module, but it's a plugin, and then you can go in and work within that.
Yeah. Oh, not enough coffee apparently.
Yeah. And so so that's cool.
Number one website. What else?
Well, what part of your website is the most important?
I would say for me, in the line of business that I do, that splash page, the front page, is
Gotcha.
the most important. Not only because of how it can be coded with any updates, but you can also collect data right away, mailing lists, email addresses, things of that nature, and provide, I think it's called meta tags. Again, I'm kind of
Yeah.
a little bit not so savvy in that world of designing, but you can update that stuff so that it, is always continually showing up in Google feed. As
Yeah,
far as
that's SEO, right?
the SEO, yeah. Search engine optimization.
That's
also integrated into the website. So for me, the homepage, the front page is the most important.
And you know what? Actually, I was talking to another person that's involved with a lot of media marketing and internet marketing. And the other thing that he said that was important about that first page is how fast it loads.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Because on my GoDaddy one, I'm going to have to do some work on it because
Yeah.
it just straight up takes too long to load.
Yeah. And sometimes I think when you have a lot going on, that kind of slows it down.
Yeah.
So maybe just, and learning totally here, just keeping things flashy and catchy and that pops, but isn't taking a lot of load time. Yeah.
And that's huge. For me, probably the most valuable part of my website is my little pop-up email subscriber.
Yep. Similar to mine. Mine doesn't pop up though. It's just right there.
It's
in your
just
face.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one as soon as you go on, it's like, welcome to Billie Stevens. Hey, subscribe. And so the way my website is there, but the real most important thing is my email list, because that allows me that whenever I have something important going on, I can reach out to anybody who's been there or shown interest in what I'm doing.
No, totally. I get that.
And especially coming out with a new record in spring and a tour. And
yeah, and you want everybody to know that maybe as a Billie Stevens fan, hey, here's what's going on.
yeah, if they don't get to my website, I get to their email.
Exactly, because not everybody's going to be religious about checking the website every single day, so the
Yeah.
occasional email reminder's nice. I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's plenty of websites I don't check on a daily basis, but I get those reminder emails, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Click back over and check out whatever, piques my interest.
Now, for that, I don't have a very big email list. I'm going to be growing it, and that's going to be something we'll be talking about in the program. Is as I grow and get more people, I will be able to say, oh, I tried this with my email and really showed to work well versus... So right now I have a couple hundred people on my email list. How about you?
I'm just around the 400 or 500 mark, so
Okay.
a little
So
bit
we're
more.
a little
Pretty
more,
neck
but
and neck.
we're both starting out at a pretty decent place to where as we grow, we can know when something's working.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. For
Cool.
Sure.
And so that's our website and our email, and that probably leads me to my biggest platform that I use for social media, which is the old Zuckerberg, Facebook.
Same here, actually. Facebook, too.
Yeah. And now, from everything that I've read and from what I'm actually seeing now, dabbling with other platforms, the Facebook demographic's gotten a little older.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm actually finding when I get younger fans for my music that are around the 15-year-old range, a lot of them don't even have one.
It's true. I think different types of apps have different demos.
Yeah.
That's demographics for all y'all that aren't savvy.
There you go.
That lingo.
So for Facebook, I have a profile, a page, and a group.
Same.
Okay.
Actually, yep.
And my profile, I think I have 5,000 people, and I think that's where they clip you.
Yeah.
And then my page, I only have about 820 some odd people right now. So it's fairly average to small to average. And we're going to be working throughout this show. We're going to be doing different strategies and talking about what works to grow that and what, is not quite as well. How about you on your Facebook page?
My Facebook page has about 2,600, I want to say, give or take a little bit. I have a personal profile that's connected, and it shows that I manage the page. I have maybe 1,800 friends, I want to say. And then our group, we just started a community group, so
Gotcha.
It's new. I mean, and we're talking baby, like 2 digits. Maybe,
Gotcha.
Maybe 20-something people. So it's in its very much infancy.
That's great, because we're going to be checking in on that as we go. My group actually is ran by somebody else. And I know when they first started it, they did a big push to get people in it. And I think got it up to about 3,500 people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, here's what they found out. And here's something that if you don't know will definitely help you if you're going to put a group together. It is actually worse to have a large group of people if they're not all engaging. If you have a group of 200 people and let's say 120 of them are always engaging, your group's gonna get more Facebook preferential treatment than if you have a group with 3,000 people in it and the same 120, let's say even 200 are active. Because Facebook is based a lot on engagement.
Right.
And so,
which I think is why they're doing like things that I've even noticed too, like where they've added in GIFs, so you can use GIFs to reply to people and stickers and stuff as ways to engage with people.
Absolutely, because they get more they get more out of you the more time you spend on their app.
Yeah, true.
And so with a group, I had to talk to my group president that runs it and said, hey, let's back it off a little bit and let's focus more on getting the people on there working because the people that join the group, we would never end up in their feeds.
Yeah.
Because unless they were active, there was no reason for it. And that's one thing, like, even if you have a group of, like I said, 200 and 100 are working, those other 100 from time to time you'll end up in their feed just to remind them. If you got 3,500 are active, you're not going to end up in those other 2,500.
And one of the things that's I find is really interesting about Facebook, you can do sponsored ads and stuff. And I like looking at the insights and things like that. Of course, I do some sponsored ads. I really like things to be as organic as possible. Yeah. So I prefer that. And sometimes it's interesting how Facebook will be like, this post is doing, 70% better than yada yada. Yeah. And then I think to myself, is it just because Facebook wants my money?
Yes.
Is it just because they want my money for me to boost a post? And, like like boosting posts. Well, if you can just get the people to organically engage, you don't need the boosts as much. We're not slamming Facebook, but when you're on a shoestring budget or something like that, and you go, gosh, I only got, $50 a month I can spend on this. Like, how am I going to stretch that across this platform? You want to be like really smart about that.
And I've seen from a couple of the guys I follow that do social media training,
Yeah.
they've said just clicking the boost now for $10 button is a waste of money.
Yeah.
Because unless you're targeting the people you want and those people are engaging back,
Yeah.
you just ended up in some random person's feed. So that's another thing that we're really going to try to tackle here is, we're both, we have our businesses, our brands,
Yeah.
but we don't have an unlimited budget just to waste on stuff.
Yeah. So we have to be smart about it.
And we want to develop strategies in here that work, that are cost effective. Mm-hmm. So if you can do a Facebook without doing an actual paid boost, mm-hmm. but actually somehow engage your post or create your post in a way that people are going to engage with, mm-hmm. Facebook will put it in more other people's posts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So learning about all that stuff, absolutely. It's just it's a process. What works, what doesn't work. And that's part of it. Like you said, it's really the engagement. And boy, is engaging very consuming of one's time.
It can be. It can be. One thing that we actually learned about yesterday mm-hmm. is one way to save a little bit of time on engagement mm-hmm. is putting something out there. Now, I don't recommend putting out controversial stuff only for the purpose of clickbaiting or getting people involved, mm-hmm. but putting something out there that's relevant to you, but yet is something worthy of a discussion. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of your engagement happens between the people in your group mm-hmm. or between your friends.
Yep.
And then that saves you the time from having to go on there. And you still want to respond to each person, but if you can get people starting dialogues with it between each other.
Yeah.
I think we just saw a post yesterday where mm-hmm. somebody said something and somebody else contradicted them, and then there was a whole feed you had uh-huh. that you weren't even involved in anymore.
Nope, it's true. Yeah.
But that activity is going to put that, lucky for you, in more people's feeds.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so it could be a good thing for sure.
Yeah. So, a quick question for you.
Okay, sure.
How do you divvy up between Facebook now does stories?
Yeah. So that's kind of new for me, and I'm figuring it out. One of the things that the features that Facebook does have that I like is that there's the ability to schedule your posts and your stories.
Yeah.
And that's huge because then you can figure out, based on current trends and what have you, what days are good days to post, what times are good times to post, and when are good days and times to post stories. Stories, I think, it seems like to me what I'm noticing is it's just, it kind of, I feel like it grabs people's attention quicker because they see something it's like a flashing light,
Yeah.
Which means, oh, hey, there's something new here for you to look at.
Yeah.
As opposed to just a static photo or something. But the story may be a static photo once you've clicked through. Kind of hard to say, right?
Yeah.
But so I kind of like them, and I'm just learning a little bit about it now. What about you?
I am horrible when it comes to my Facebook story because I have my profile on my page.
Yeah.
And the extent of my Facebook profile or stories
mm-hmm.
are me doing a story on Instagram and then sharing it to my page.
Yeah.
So people that are following me on both Instagram and my page get the same story, mm-hmm. and people on my profile that aren't following my page or my Instagram don't get anything.
True.
And so
story. Ha.
Right, true story.
Yep.
So one thing
I'm a comedian.
I need to get better at, and if anybody has any suggestions, is kind of scheduling. I know what's ideal from just watching trends and what other people are doing as far as posting that seems to be effective.
Yeah.
But a way for me to come up with so much different content native to each platform.
Yeah.
Because we've just been talking about Facebook for like the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And that's one of, like I said, 15 different ones that I'm on.
Oh my God, yeah. It's all, like, truly, it's all a learning experience. I mean, just because we've had, established ourselves in the past years and have had the successes that we have, it's like learning to walk again.
Yeah.
It really is. And so many new possibilities out there with the technology constantly, and just trying to figure out what does work for your brand, for my brand, for your brand. What works. Like, that's kind of what this is about a little bit.
Yeah, and that's again, we are right in it with you. We're not coming in going, I got 400,000 Instagram followers, so
I mean, that would be nice. But...
Oh yeah, but and we'll get there. But it's going to be we're bringing you with us. So speaking of Instagram and Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram. And Instagram did their stories before Facebook stories. I personally think Instagram stole their stories from the idea of Snapchat.
Right.
But how are you doing on Instagram?
I'm doing okay on Instagram. I am trying to remember to do stories more. Probably about 1,100 followers right now, a little bit more. And I need to spend just more time. Again, I think it's learning how to figure out what's the most efficient way to utilize all these platforms and get the benefits of everything without it becoming a completely full-time job,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's great if it's a full-time job and you are, actually able to financially have the fruits of your labor be successful. It's another thing when this is a passion and you're growing it and you still got to pay the bills. So it's a matter of, how do you know which ones are going to work? How do you make the most efficient use of your time? I love Instagram. I'm still learning stuff about it. I'm learning I'm following tags and stuff now. You have to look at different locations. It's crazy.
There's a lot there. And one thing
and engage. Really.
Again, and to follow up on kind of what you were saying is you could have a full-time job doing social media, but if that's not your brand, we're building our brands.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not a social media marketer guy. I'm not a guy that you come to and say, hey, Billy, run all my social media. I play guitar and make records and sing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's
again,
true. And
balance.
it's like, it's so true. And it's like, I get contracted to do events, which is what I'm passionate about. And I'm really lucky that that's how I make my paycheck.
Yeah.
But again, there's, it really comes down to two full-time jobs, essentially, if not more.
Yeah. And so, any tips that we can come up with that we're working on that can save us time will save you time.
So share away, please.
Absolutely. I did notice with doing tags on Instagram made a big difference. I'm also around 1,100.
Yeah, so what about one of the things, and I noticed that this changes a lot too, and maybe you guys have some input also that you want to share, is tags in the actual body of your description, like your text that you're putting up, versus tags in the comments.
Yeah.
What works better? What draws more people to your page?
And from what I understand, a tag is a tag and works that way. The difference is aesthetics. So do you want people to look at your picture going, here's me in Cabo San Lucas on the beach, and then see 30,000 hashtag beach living, hashtag beach bum, hashtag so tan, right?
Right.
Or do you just want to say, this is me, and that's your main thing? And then a lot of people either put in the comments or put a couple dots in the comments so you don't even see it right away. All the tags, from what I understand, the tags work in the post regardless of where they are. So even if somebody comes later in after your post has been up for a couple months and tags something in a comment they write, that still makes that post somehow connected to that tag.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, have you had any luck trending to where you use a tag and then you go and look and you're in that top little?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't realize that's even a feature in Instagram, is some people on Instagram do searches just by hashtags.
Yeah, I like doing it. And sometimes, if you're lucky or if you start trending, you show up in the top,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I just did an acoustic show, like a singer-songwriter show in up by Pasadena in a little town called Sierra Madre.
Okay.
And I just tagged that I was doing the show, but then somebody else in the post tagged Sierra Madre. And then I came up and they rotate them.
Yeah.
But it came up in, the show I was doing of me and Sierra Madre, Discover Sierra Madre. So, that's a good way that you're cross-networking where it's like, I'm not focusing on that, but because I did that, a whole new little audience and niche audience was opened up.
Yeah, nice.
And that's one thing that I heard a guy actually, it was a guitar player. I play guitar and I watch videos from time to time of that too. And Steve Vai made a comment on a video I was watching yesterday that I don't focus on my weaknesses. I focus on my strengths.
Yeah.
And so if
Speaking
you
of
have
hashtags, hashtag massage. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Hashtag full body. So if you find your niche, but you own it, other people, when they tag off of that niche, will actually, you'll be brought in high up. So it's one of those things that it's better to be a king of one thing than a jack of all trades, even though we're going to be talking about 20 some odd other different platforms.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they all work for me. Doesn't mean they all work for you.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean they all work for you. And that actually will bring us. You have anything more on Instagram?
No. I'm good.
Okay. That brings us to the old YouTube. Oh, man.
Gosh, man, I don't really have a YouTube presence, truthfully. It's something that I am going to have to kind of start from ground zero on. So I'm very aware of YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just never really been a platform that I've utilized for the events. So I'm kind of excited. You're going to have to give me any background you maybe have on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of research on YouTube, and I spend a lot of time watching YouTube.
Yeah, well, I think we all do.
Yeah,
right?
And YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world.
Yeah.
The first being Google, who
Gotta love Google.
owns YouTube.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
So a lot of people don't realize the key to growing your YouTube is ending up in people's searches. And the way you do that is by tags and data.
Yeah.
Content. So you can have the coolest video out there, but if nobody sees it, you're going to be reduced to 7 likes or views. Because I have the coolest video on YouTube already. And I think I have less than 200 views on it because the world does not know what coolness is there waiting for them.
There's so much out there, guys, really.
Yeah. And so, if I want a 1 million view video, I'm going to do the Billie Stevens Yoga Challenge.
It's, some people may watch that. You just never know.
The Billie Stevens bath time routine.
That would probably be more a Noele Shannon thing that people would enjoy.
Probably. They don't want to see me moisturize.
Yeah. But I got kind of a cute face even without makeup.
Yeah. So, YouTube, I need to get better. I have under 100 subscribers.
I do too. I have under 100, just so you know.
And I have probably about 8 videos up.
Okay.
So I'm going to be working. I want to get up. I want to get on my own channel. Now, for this channel, this is going to have its own YouTube channel. And our goal is 5 videos a week.
Yeah.
On our
They're going to get better, I promise. They really will.
This is old. But on my personal, I got to do that too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to start on that one with one a week.
Cool. Nice.
And that's all about search engine. You got to think of YouTube as a search engine.
Right, right. Yeah. I mean, hey, if somebody's looking how to be an event producer, event coordinator, event manager, maybe they're going to plug that into Google to see what comes up on YouTube, or plug it in to the search, little magnifying glass on YouTube.
And when you look up stuff on Google, the strip of YouTube is one of the first things that come up.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's good to own your own stuff.
Uh-huh. We're working on it.
Oh, yes.
Totally working on it.
Yes. Okay.
All right, Dopey.
You're thrilled.
Uh-huh.
All right. So moving right along.
Excuse me.
What do we have next on what we use?
I use Twitter. I don't use it a ton, and I need to get better about it. I kind of am a very verbose person by nature, so
Yeah.
Twitter's a challenge for me. But I do have a Twitter presence for Wild West Steam Fest. Wild
Very
West
good.
Steam, actually. Yeah, and that's kind of fun. And
And
it's
how many
kind of
people do you have following
maybe
that?
300-ish. So
Okay.
I would say, collectively between, let's see, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, 4,000-ish.
Okay.
It's an okay number, but it's got to get better. And
Yeah.
so there's all these other platforms, and really the goal is to get those numbers so high that eventually, and you guys will hear us talk about the 1,000 true fans.
Yes.
And we're gonna get there, and that's something we'll be talking about down the road.
And that's this social media is really
Yeah.
the perfect avenue, the vehicle
Yeah.
to get there. And I remember back MySpace, even before, that 1,000 true fans was still there, but it was so much harder to do.
Yeah, and it's so much easier now with billions of people at like just this. You're walking around with a little computer in your
Yeah.
hands on a regular basis. I mean, how many of us fall asleep with a phone beside our bed? Yeah, probably not super healthy for us, but
Well, mine doesn't even vibrate.
I was like, but that being said, yeah, just all so interesting.
But with all those people come a lot of static. A lot of stuff you got to fish through to get your true fans.
Yeah. So that'll probably end up being a whole nother episode, I would say.
I need to get my Twitter up to speed.
Yeah.
I am horrible about it. Again, most of my tweets are off of my Instagram story or off of...
I mean, it's kind of nice that feature's available, but I've had people work with me before, social media people helping to maintain the accounts and stuff. And I'll tell you what, it is one of those things that I know that these options are available where you can share it across all of those platforms just by toggling a button.
Yep.
But then everybody's getting the same thing. And I think it's not really fair to share the same thing to every platform because every platform has a different demographic.
Exactly. And
So people are going to want to see different things.
And I have followers that are actually following 3 platforms.
Yeah, same. Or I may have people that are into the event and they're a fan of the event on Instagram, but nowhere else.
And I deal with that all the time. I'm like, oh, that girl's gorgeous with a lot of cleavage, and I like her picture on Facebook, and now I can't like it on Instagram or I'm a creeper.
Yeah.
Right? Because
There
these are real people problems of social media.
It's so true. Yeah, where do you... That'll probably be its own episode, too. Where do you draw the line between being a creeper and a fan?
Yeah. Well, probably right here.
Yeah.
Fan, creeper. No, but maybe we'll get to that episode. So, Twitter, I need to do more on. I need to be more engaging.
Yeah.
And I got to do a little more research. That as a platform is just kind of different for me.
Yeah.
And one platform that I do more stuff on that I don't think you do as much on is Snapchat.
Yeah, I am trying to get myself comfortable with Snapchat.
Yeah.
I just haven't quite gotten there yet. I will. Oh, we might have a special guest coming into the
Oh,
to
yeah.
the shot here. Hi, buddy. Yeah, so everybody, this is King Zion. If anybody sees his head, he wants some mama love. Yeah, so there we go. All right. Hashtag dog lovers, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll get some extra viewers. Okay, please go back. I'm doing some
Okay.
work.
Go lay down.
Go on. Go lay down. Lay down right there. That works.
All right.
It's like, yeah, he now is wishing he had something to contribute besides
Yeah.
kisses and stuff. Yeah. Twitter. So
Go lay down.
let's see. LinkedIn. I definitely have LinkedIn, but I haven't really focused on it a lot. It's kind of always been a little bit more about my line of business, not so much the event. So
Yeah.
again, it's like, where do you draw the line? Is my brand me as an event producer? Is my brand my event?
Yeah.
Personally, my brand that I want to be building is my event. I love the idea of people coming to me, maybe to have me mentor them or to help them out or for suggestions and advice. I definitely am flattered. That's happened to me before. But I think LinkedIn, and I could be wrong, so definitely feel free to weigh in.
Yeah.
It's more about like Noele Shannon as an event producer. That would be a platform, because I'm not going to build a Wild West Steam Fest profile for
Exactly.
LinkedIn. I am going to build it for myself as an event producer, and this is one of my, what's the word? One of my premier events that I do. So, yeah.
And for me, LinkedIn, I actually have a fair amount of people on there, but I don't get much out of it. I know I use it more for business, but it never really panned out super well.
Yeah, I did too. I did for a while. I don't know. I have 200-300 people I want to see on my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But every time I'd use InMail or something to try and build a relationship.
Yeah.
People wouldn't even respond.
That's what I got a lot. And I'm a member of the Academy Music, the National Recording Arts.
Yeah.
So Grammys. Mm-hmm. So I would find other members on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And reach out to them, or reach out to music directors or people in the business end of it, and InMail them.
And nothing.
And nothing.
Yeah. I found that
And it
interesting,
always
too.
seemed weird to me, because I would go to certain events that are, just kind of like little cliquey
Industry type.
social industry socials, and I would meet somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm the music director for Warner Brothers that did Suicide Squad. Send me your music, and then I drop them a LinkedIn InMail, and then no response. And so then I would wonder, is it me?
Yeah. No, I don't, again, not to slam LinkedIn, but I've never had success with InMail. I just,
Yeah.
And you do wonder, is it me? Is it the way that I wrote something? Again, gosh, it's just, I think all of these things, we could talk about them forever. It's just like a full-time job.
It can
Knowing
be.
the nuances and the ins and outs of all of it, and which is why social media managers exist.
Yeah.
Those are the pros, the people who, but I know we're very hands-on, and we want to be able to have the control over our brand and our image, and also we want to be able to build those relationships.
And that's the part for me that's the most important, is the actual relationship. When I write a song, if somebody just hears a song on the radio and go, oh, that's good, I get it, I love that all day long.
Sure.
If somebody feels like they know enough about me to know where that came from, that's to me more important, because I'm reaching them at a deeper level.
Absolutely.
And that's where a platform like, to be honest, I really like Snapchat.
Yeah.
I don't snap enough.
Yeah, and I don't really at all, hardly. So it's something I'm gonna have to get used to.
But that a lot, and the demographic's younger, and so if I write a song about, I'm not real mature maybe, and I might write a song about doing something fun that might not be considered very adulty, and a 16-year-old might get it. Oh yeah, I remember what it's like to sneak out of the house and run from the cops. And whereas I have a better chance of finding that demographic on Snapchat than I do on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so I really do like Snapchat for that. And for for the personal connection, I feel is a little bit better. And honestly, I'm a big fan of Bitmojis. When they first came out,
They're
like
fun.
the bit strips,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, how many people are going to do bit strips?
Yeah.
And then when I got my own Bitmoji,
So
And-
fun because you can customize them. Yeah.
and everybody this Thanksgiving
Yep.
got my little pumpkin pie emoji, or Bitmoji,
Yep.
which was quite a hit amongst the family. So, I feel like Snapchat, I'm going to learn more about, and we're going to be working on reporting that. But I really think that's going to be a valuable one for me. Now, one that I'm on that I've never used, Tumblr.
Same.
You have a Tumblr profile?
Never used.
Yeah. I need to.
I think Butch Walker has one. I was kind of impressed with that. I gotta.
Yeah. And my buddy Cody, who plays with Butch Walker sometimes, has one. So maybe there's a gang. Maybe it's a Tumblr gang.
It's all hashtag Tumblr gang.
Tumblr South gang.
Ugh, trust me, you don't. Old people being funny. Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah.
So Tumblr, and then there's a couple more, and I think that's kind of it for
What we're using.
right now. But and these ones I think are more geared towards you as an artist and a musician. But Spotify and SoundCloud.
Well, yes and no, because both Spotify, and I didn't realize this until I actually have my Spotify, my records up there. And so if you want to stream it for free, check it out. But searching around it, podcasts are huge on Spotify. Okay. I didn't realize
Makes
this.
sense, yeah.
And so we're going to be seeing what we need to do to make sure our podcast is on Spotify.
Okay.
Not only do I like Spotify where different people can make playlists, I make my own playlist, but it's a pain in the butt. Search and song, add. Search song, add. Search songs, add. And when I'm in a mood and it's genre specific or theme specific,
Yeah.
Breakfast Club, her search, and a playlist will come up. And it may not just be Breakfast Club. It might be other John Hughes movies. It might be.
Yeah.
I like that about it. But it seems to be cool, but not like life-changing huge.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, and I don't, to me, Spotify is just another place to listen to music, just like Pandora,
Now,
So,
Pandora, you don't get to pick your artists.
correct.
And Spotify, you do. Mm-hmm. But on Google Play or Apple Music, you do, right?
Correct. Don't really use Google Play, Apple Music. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can get a subscription and have access to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So, and I know that iTunes does podcasts.
iTunes does do podcasts.
And so even though if you have an event that somebody might want to be interested in, you still have a chance to reach the people who rather, they call it consuming content while they drive in a car.
No, it's true, because I know, like in the steampunk world, for instance, now my event is not specifically steampunk, although it has many elements of steampunk to it, Wild West Steam Fest. There's plenty of podcasts out there about people, creators that are talking about things that line up with steampunk, neo-futurism, Victorian, fantasy, fiction, sci-fi, all that stuff. And there's authors out there who write into that specific genre. So yeah, in that regard, iTunes and podcasts is kind of valuable to the event.
Yeah. And so we're going to be covering more of that because for me, it's a good place to showcase my music. But it's also a good place for anybody who's building a brand to actually find people that prefer to consume their content that way and reach them.
No, it's true. And I mean, there's plenty of people who have to commute and they're stuck in a car for, an hour plus one way each day. So
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity. I mean, I use that opportunity to make phone calls and in those phone calls, I'm building relationships.
Yeah.
That's something that's important to me.
Yeah.
But why not learn?
Well, exactly. And the same with SoundCloud. I know I'm part of another podcast called Circle of Fifths. And it's actually put on by a company called Tsunami Cables. And I get together with 4 other guitar players. And we test out different gear. And we try different things and all talk about our opinions of them. And they're all professional seasoned pros.
Yeah.
And they put out their podcasts on SoundCloud.
Nice. Yeah, and I've listened to plenty of different podcasts too on SoundCloud. And I've listened to, so it's kind of cool for me, like as a consumer, I like SoundCloud because I can listen to, new music, things that my friends have worked on, maybe like they've mixed, mastered, engineered, and then also like podcasts. I don't even remember the name, but there was this really cool one, Chet Zar. He's an artist, does a lot of stuff at the Copro Gallery, but he had Jim McKenzie, who's one of my favorite artists, as a guest on his podcast. And yeah, so I'm learning a little bit more about SoundCloud. Haven't really utilized it for the event yet, but definitely, again, it's about looking at all these platforms, figuring out how can they be beneficial to our brands.
Yeah.
And just trying it out.
And with SoundCloud, I have a profile, and all I've really ever used it for is to send people links to my music. So if I'm going to go do a radio interview and they're like, oh, we need some of your songs, I just send them a link to download it off SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Because it's that easy, but I know that I really could be milking that platform for something more than it is.
Yeah, for sure.
So now that actually, I think that covers all the ones that I'm on, except for I did just join one that I don't know if you remember a few months back, everybody on Instagram was like, follow me on Vero.
Oh yeah, I did join that, and then I just lost interest after a few days.
And as did I. And it was kind of sad because I probably had at least 50 friends. Follow me on Vero. I went on Vero, followed them. They followed me. I don't think anybody's checked back in on them.
Huh, interesting.
So that's going to be some of my homework that I'm going to do maybe for, in the next few weeks as we start going through and picking apart different things that we can do on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can't find out what's been going on since I've been gone, not paying attention to it.
Yeah, yeah. And again, just what works. So that's some of the stuff that we are working on, and I think we're going to kind of start to wrap up this specific episode right now, or at least what we're filming currently.
Yeah.
Because Noelle needs to take a break from sitting here and talking so long. That being said...
I'm a sitter and a talker.
Yeah, and I don't mind doing it, every once in a while. So, cool platforms, that's what we're using. Let us know what you use, what works for you. Let us know if there's something that we missed. I know there's a lot of new things we're going to talk about in an upcoming episode.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. We will see you tomorrow on Building Our Brands.
Bye, guys.
Bye.